Разговараме со председателот на Европската унија на синдикати Рикардо Валадас за неколку важни теми поврзани со полициските синдикати на европско тло. Good evening, Mr. Valadas. Thank you for this interview. I will ask the questions on Macedonian. Прво, најавивте нова стратешка програма CESP 2025. Што предвидува и што ќе значи за полициските службеници?
Yes. Hello everybody. Thank you so much for this invitation, for being here and to try to explain some of our measures, some of our objectives, and some of our paths, because that's what we're talking about. CESP 2025, it's a strategic program that we have built the last 3 years after we have spoke with almost all the police officers around the European space that identified the main issues of each of those police officers, and mainly to establish or try to establish an equalitarian system among police officers all over the European continent. We have built, we have studied, and we have built an European police statute. What we believe that police officers should be took as equals all around a group of countries that build the European Union, and we see normally in the European Union very different aspects on the police work, on the police rights, and in the police behavior. So this is a path that we have built towards a more human police officer or police corps, a more a police service that serves people, that protects people, and that protects human rights above everything. Because this is where democracy is based. That is our belief what democracy is. So that's our program. It's a very dense one, but it identifies around all the aspects that we think that it's on debate right now.
Споменавте разлики помеѓу полициските службеници во различни држави. Колку се почитуваат правата на полициските службеници во Северна Македонија во споредба со сите други европски држави и колку полициските службеници ги почитуваат човековите права при вршење на својата работа?
We have one of our functions in CESP is not only to build paths. It's also very closely monitor the behavior and how the governments are treating police officers, how the police officers are evaluating in a more democratic system. And we have closely monitored the police officers here in North Macedonia, and together with the MPS, with the President Marian Kicev, and together with the Minister of Interior, Oliver Spasovski, we know there's a very good, they are debating very good aspects towards more, they have a very good social dialogue toward, they are social partners of the government, MPS for instance, and I know that they have signed a new collective agreement. I know they are in the direction that we in CESP believe it's the right direction. I think these are steps that needs to be taken, even if the persons think that there are small. There are more steps to be made. I strongly believe that this is the path, and in a short term, we will see more rights, the increase of wages, the increase of the power of achievement by the police officers. That is our hope. I think there's a good effort. I think there's a balanced relationship between the government and the MPS, mainly because of those two persons that I've mentioned, and I think that is the correct path.
А што е со почитувањето на човековите права од страна на полициските службеници? Каква е вашата анализа?
We in CESP, we believe in an Europe of equality, and that is something that we don't renounce. We are an organization that it's working together with the United Nations, with the European, with the European organizations, with Council of Europe, and I think the police officers are the only way that police officers needs to be present in our society. It's to protect people. It's the only function that we have. We need to protect people in order to balance to the checks and balances of a society that we believe it should be a more human rights defendable, let me rephrase it. We believe that human rights is something that the police officer must have in their ADN. That could be achieved by better formation, better education, and better selection. Mistakes are committed all over the globe. We have been in the recent cases in the United States, and they have a very advanced democratic system. So I think the solution is always in syndicate, monitor, close monitors of the behaviors of the police officers, and that's how we can gain the respect of the persons. Because we exist to serve persons. We exist to serve the democracy, and it's inadmissible that that we as technicals, as security technicals, cannot protect persons. But that's, I think, in Macedonia. I don't like to speak in Macedonia or in countries, because the things I see in Macedonia, I see in other countries also. Recently in Portugal, we had problems with aggressions, but we also have the other way around. We also have all over European space aggressions against police officers, and that is something that we cannot allow also, because we serve to balance, we serve to the justice, and we serve to serve the others. That's our way of being and our commitment.
Во земјава има повеќе поделени полициски синдикати, дали е тоа случај во земјите од Европската унија?
I think that it's a normal situation in democracy. Democracy, it's when the persons are not happy, they try to go to the other places. I normally said that it's a mistake, but it's not a mistake to build more unions or to have more unions. But when you have a union, like for instance in North Macedonia, a union that it's worked toward the progress, it's working and they are achieving results. So if you're not happy with the actual members, so candidate to the members. You don't need to build other unions. We have countries in Europe with 20 unions for one police office, for one police corps, one police institution. It's too many, because they normally get in conflict with each other's, and they left behind the rights of the police officers. And the only way that we can be in unionism is to protect persons, and in our case to protect the police officers, and to improve their rights, to improve their way of being in the society and has fundamental persons in a democratic society.
Кој може да членува во ЦЕСП, само репрезентативните или секој синдикат кој ќе побара?
No, in North Macedonia, the Council of Europe, the CESP, the Council of European Police Unions, only admit one union for each country. The responsibility of that union is to represent all the police officers in the country, independently if they are not in that union or not. And for instance, in North Macedonia, it's MPS, the representative of all police officers, even if they are in other unions or if they are not in any union. Because the main goal of MPS is to defend the police officers in North Macedonia. It's one representative for one country, and CESP elected MPS as the union that represents the police officers in our council.
Корупцијата е присутна на цел Балкан, што се презема за да се спречи во полициските редови.
Well, corruption, it's like the rights of the police officers. It's an endemic situation, an endemic problem all over the globe. It's not something from here, North Macedonia, or from a specific region. It's something that comes with the humans. It comes with us. And the only way that we normally said, when I deliver lectures regarding corruption or regarding the financial system or the violent criminality, it's to educate toward a new perspective. Because corruption has a very big problem. Corruption's the person that it's not a very condemned crime all over Europe. It's not condemned, socially condemned, because normally a person tends to know or to think that corruption delivers no victims. There are no direct victims. Yes, there are. The Hungary that you have in the countries, the poor conditions that you have in the health system, in the education system, those are the victims of corruption. So the only way we think corruption could be fought is to implement a very transparent legal system, a very strong law and that gives power to the magistrates, to the judges, and to the police to act over those persons. And it's very simple. You just need to implement the three-party system of the democracy. Separate the legislative power from the executive power from judicial power. All those three powers, invented by a French philosopher in the 18th century, are the powers that build democracy. It's the ground, the soil of democracy. If you have those three powers separated, communicated, you have a clean democracy. And that it's almost impossible to a corrupt person to act to make an act of corruption without being detected. And then it's a question of education. It's like you go to a country where you see all the streets dirty. The first measure is to contract or to employ more persons to clean the streets. That is not the way. The way is to educate persons that you should not take your garbage in the streets. And corruption is not something from the Balkans. It's something from all over the world. We have examples all over the place, and we cannot allow that the politicians interfere in the investigations. That is primarily, it's something prioritary in any democracy. The judicial system is independent, the legislative system is independent, and the executive system is independent. It's not perfect, but there are countries that have already achieved good results. There are countries that are on that path. So I believe that is the way.
За крај една генерална оценка за полициските состојби во земјава.
The policing is in North Macedonia suffers the same endemic problems that all the police officers in all over Europe, with more or less grade. The low wages, the very high risks that they took without having without having any recognition from the society. That is something that we are living right now. We're living in a system. We are living in a unique time of our existence. Those last 20 years were very dramatic in changing the way that the citizens behave toward the system, the political system, or the police system, or the judicial system. If you make anything wrong, everybody goes into you. If you have been filmed in making if you see one police officer making one thing, it's bad. Somebody took your mobile phone and film it. All the police are like that. So I think the past, like I told you, of MPS, of the President Marian Kicev, with the actual Minister of Interior, Oliver Spasowski, it's the correct path towards a more modern police, a police that protects the human rights and all the persons, all the citizens. Police must be seen by the citizens as something that is fundamental, but it's something that it's right there for help us, to be there for us. It's not something to have afraid of. We don't believe in that type of police. We believe in a democratic police, and I think with the right social partners, with a lot of social dialogue, it could be possible to have a more modern police, and something that all the persons desire in North Macedonia, and also we in CESP. I think the human civilization is nothing else, nothing more than solidarity among the countries and among the peoples. So the same will happen between CESP and MPS and the Republic of North Macedonia. We are here to serve. We are here only for that. That's it.
Mr. Valadas, thank you very much for this interview.
Okay. Thank you.